So I wanted to make this video for Mikayla. This is more evidence that I need to talk to you about, and I really dearly hope that you're safe. I want to contact you so that I can find out more about my biological father, where he's buried, if he's still alive, just what your life was like, if you're safe, and reunite with my sister, because I don't have any sisters other than the sister that passed away many years ago. Our sister that we never met, and I never even reunited to her. She passed away. She was my sister. One of the reasons I want to make this, the reason I'm making this video is because it's an urgently dire need that you know this information. Keep in mind that, I'm 38 years old at the time. I'm 41 now. 6 months, January 6th, I'll be 42. Up until I'm about 38 years old, 39 years old, I don't know that Mikayla Leeser is my sister. I have no idea. I absolutely have no idea that Mikayla is my sister. And keep in mind that all these people and all these homosexuals and all these transgenders, specifically the gay community, every time that I go to a job site, all through my 20s, all through my, early 30s, when they bring up or try to ask me trick questions about you or whatever, I have no idea. There's nothing that's registering to me. These people already know about it because someone's already created some sort of a profile. It feels like somebody's shooting me in my nuts. And there's probably some laser beam, probably because I'm making this video. Sorry, but I think it's important for me to say this because there was an event that happened. Now, I'm not exactly sure who was in the car, but this is whenever I went to shoot machine guns out of a military helicopter, and I rode in a Humvee, and I went riding in a helicopter over the Grand Canyon. And I want to say this because I think it's very important for me to say this. When I was riding in the Humvee, there was a guy that looked a lot like, if for some reason, every single time he's hitting some homosexuals and these other prejudice, they always identify themselves as someone that was a part of my life. Like, they'll get somebody to look like Ken Cooper, and then they think they speak on behalf of Ken Cooper, and they know the story of Ken Cooper and my internal family. They know everything better, and then they want to start making decisions. It's like they don't know how to be themselves. It's crazy to me. It's weird, but it doesn't make any sense to me. Anyway, I don't really think of it. This guy looked a lot like this guy Patrick, who was an identical twin many years ago when I was about 27, 28 years old when I lived with him. And I was in the Humvee with him, and what it is, it's a Humvee ride through the desert, and then they take you to a specific type of tree. I can't remember the tree, but it's in the Bible. It's a specific tree that is named after someone or something very specifically in the Bible. I don't remember what it is, but it's real famous. And so we drive through there for a little bit, and then we just drive. That's it. It's a drive-through Humvee, because my brother Julian, who used to work on Humvees, and I figured, why not ride around in a Humvee, right? But it's the newer ones, it's not the old ones. And you pay like $400, and they just drive you around, and you go over the Grand Canyon near it, and they take pictures, and that's it. Well, when we are driving, it's just me by myself in the car. I don't know. I didn't know there was going to be. And so this guy, we're in Las Vegas, in downtown Las Vegas, and we're driving, and we stop by a hotel. When we stop by this hotel, he goes, "Hold on a minute, I got to find out." He goes, "Hold on, I'm here to pick some up. There's two other people that are going to join us." And I noticed that this guy, all of a sudden, in the car, he pulls out all this paperwork. Like, it has nothing to do with me to sign. I don't have to sign anything. He goes, hold on, I got to bring out all this paperwork and sign it or whatever. And I don't know what's going on. I don't know anything about this. He didn't tell me to sign anything that I can remember. But it was unusual, like he was sort of signing some ownership, or I don't know what it meant. I don't know what it meant. And he just has his paperwork, and he's just like signing paperwork, like it already looks printed, like he's signing a lease agreement or some shit. And when we're waiting there, within 10 minutes, there's two people that show up. One of them is a male that looks Hispanic, that looked a little bit like my biological father. We're pretty close to him, but he said he was from Russia. He said that this guy was from Russia, and there was this girl with him, but I don't think he was a girl. I think it was a transgender. But it looked the person, what this looked exactly like like Mikayla, and he was pretty sure he was a transgender, but it looked like Mikayla. While I was there, and she had short brown hair like Mikayla, like my sister, Lisa, the one that I saw at Lawrence Community Shelter, and I don't remember if this was before or after I went to Lawrence, Kansas. I want to say I think it was before. It was before that. And these two people get in the car and we start driving, and they say, oh, this guy right here, this guy's named this, and this is what's real boggling to me. I don't know if this was sure, but she said that her name was Mikayla. And this guy who's driving, he looks blonde hair and blue eyes, white guy, he looks like a cowboy, white supremacist. That's what he looks like. And he's real heavy set. He's kind of real fat. And I'm just having a conversation with him. At this point in my life, there's no reason for me to think that Ken Cooper lied or Kenneth lied. I just know that they just live their own life. And this is how people were treating me even before. There's more horrible stories about this and how I was targeted even before anything else happened, about how they wanted to retaliate me because it would be the Cooper family. That was why. And I knew nothing about this. They didn't care. I didn't know anything about it. They just wanted to retaliate against me because they want to retaliate against someone. And we were driving in the car, but I don't remember if I want to say that I think she said her name was Mikayla. But when I was in the car talking to this guy, I was like, oh yeah, I grew up with two brothers, and I have two other half-sisters, I have two other half-brothers, I have two other step-brothers and a step-sister, but I don't talk to them, they're already in his first marriage. So I go on my conversation talking about like what my dad was like, and this guy's just like, he's just basically driving around to hear information about what I have to say, because I have no idea this guy's spying on me. I have no idea that these people are directly spying on Mikayla. And as soon as I tell him that I don't have any sisters that I know of, and that I only have a stepsister that I don't communicate with and my mother doesn't like, I don't even tell him my mother didn't like him or her. I just say, oh, I don't communicate with them. They're just kind of raising their family and do their own thing. And I said, I don't have any other sisters other than that. But she's real old, much older than me. And he looks at me and he's thinking like, what the? And then that's whenever that girl comes in. But I want to say she says her name is Mikayla. She's posing herself by giving her a false name. Now you got to keep in mind, these are total strangers. I don't know where this come from, but I know that the guy was in there. He said talked to him for a minute, and he said he was from Russia. And he looked like my biological father, like his body shape, his build, his looks, he kind of looked like him. But he said he was from Russia. And he really wasn't all that conversational with me. He just it seemed kind of odd because, it's like riding a roller coaster. You're all kind of going along with the trip. I don't know who you are. You're in the car with me. It probably should have been more friendly, but this is how I think it's important for Mikayla, for you to understand that whatever happened to my biological father, our biological father, there's other people that are persecuting him and trying to play his sort of character against me and then act violent, like negative, to identify him as a monster. And I don't know who's doing this. But what I do know is I don't remember exactly, but I want to say this transgender said her name was Mikayla. Now, this was not the same Mikayla's name person when I went to work for GoCurb, when I was being a taxi driver. This person was a different person. I want to say she said her name was Mikayla. And I said, oh, Mikayla, oh wow, it's okay, Mikayla. And I don't know that I have a sister Mikayla. So they're already bringing up the stage names. I don't have no idea that Mikayla Lisa's my sister. I have no idea we share the same biological father. I have no idea. So I think it's important, Mikayla, for you to understand that it wasn't because you're just trying to figure out things for yourself and what's going on in life. And I have no idea who you were, even though you knew who I was, and something else that was going on. It's the idea that people are persecuting you and going after you and coming at me because they want to do everything they possibly can so that I never reunite with you. I never have another conversation with you again. So the more that they can destruct and destroy that, the more they're going to do more harm to me and more harm to any type of what life is about as family. And they want to make as much as suffering and much demoralization they can to me because I'm hated that much. So I think it's important. One of the reasons that I think my biological father is not alive, is because I remember, Mikayla, I don't know if you get to watch these videos, but I remember you walking when I was in the homeless shelter, and you were wearing the same dress that I saw you in the government office with Ted Cruz. And when I was laying in his bed, and it was on Valentine's Day, I remember you dropped a heart. You in one of the by my bed or something, or by the sleeves or whatever, the mail, or not the next to my bed, and there's like a little pocket or something that you were giving everyone, basically Valentine's cards, all the homeless people. But I don't know if it was specifically this time that you showed up. When you showed up, I want to say that I remember you were kind of sniffling, like you were almost kind of like you had some tears of emotions or some kind, like you had some tears of emotions that were getting you emotional, and you came by and like the first impression that I kind of got I don't understand what's going on. I was just thinking that, just a nice thing that you're doing to all the people, and at the time you approached, there wasn't anyone around me. And I don't know what it meant because I'm like, I just never know what's going on. So at that time, I don't understand it. I don't even know you're my sister. But when I think about it very vividly, the last few years, it was like you were telling me that our biological father came by and he wanted to give something, that he was important in life. And he was like dropping a heart to say that he was important, because Mikayla, you don't understand. Mikayla, you didn't. I know you had no idea what my life was like, but I had no idea I had a different biological father. And I remember talking to Mikayla, and I told Mikayla, I remember telling you this, and I said, I said, I just found out just like a couple years ago that I have a different biological father, and I never knew that I had a biological father. I'm like, nobody told me anything. And I remember you being very upset, but I remember her getting some handkerchiefs, like she was kind of, I can remember maybe shuffling some tears of emotion. And this is one of the reasons why I think he may not be alive. But I want to say this very importantly. When I got in the car, in that Humvee, that guy who was driving was like behaving like he wanted to say he was Ken Cooper and it was going to play the Ken Cooper role in my life, in my mother's life, and say what's going to go. And I've never met this guy before. And there's a very sick behavior. I've seen a lot of people do this. So I say this because when we're in the back car and the guy that said he was from Russia that looked like my biological father, I remember looking at him and he had sunglasses on. And he said that they were couples. He said like the girl Mikayla and him were couples. He goes, yeah, they're boyfriend, girlfriend. But I think it's important for me to say something about this because I have no idea. I mean, I can't even explain, like, I'm terrorized of the idea that they're not going to allow me in any kind of way to contact you, because on Facebook there's accounts with your name on there. It says Mikayla Leeser, but they have a transgender that looks just like you. That's a fake account, 2 separate accounts. And I looked you up on like True Identity or Truth.com or something, where you can look up people's criminal records, addresses, and phone numbers, public records, which is a really famous one. I think it's called Truth Finder, and this Truth Finder is a people finder sort of. And I looked your name up, and it said Mikayla Leeser, but it seems to have been hacked, and it's not the same person. It doesn't. I'm having, for some reason, I don't believe that they're hacking into something, and they're not allowing me to find access to you, to where your phone number is, where you live, what was your life like. But I do know that there's 2 fake accounts on Facebook that shows a girl just like you, same skin tone, eye color, hair color. I mean, someone that looks just like you, but it's a transgender, like trying to be who you are. So that's why I wanted to say something about what's going on. I'm very lost to this situation. I really do hope. I'm never going to stop looking for you. I want to reunite with a sister. I want to hear your stories of life. What was happening and all these different things. Why were you in the governor's office? You know, because you'll find a lot of answers in the horrible things that happened to your life, and the stress that came into your life was not because of me. It was because of the people that were doing this to me, and anyone that I'm connected to, they want to separate me with, including my mother, who I haven't spoken to once in over 20 years. I've only been speaking to my mom's triplet the entire time, or my aunts. I don't know who's involved in this criminal activity, and it's just very bad. This is horrific. This is like a murder. I'm going to take your money and murder you type of what they did to my dad. I don't know who brought this money with lawyers, but that's a whole different, section story of my life. But I want to say this. These people are there to separate all efforts of God ability that they can in all the most monstrous ways to make sure I never contact you, and you have never contact with me, and you disregard me. There are people that want to behave and act like you and think they are you, and they want to speak on behalf of you, and they want to deter me away from them. I've had this lady at the church that did this. They're all over the place, but they know that you're able to help me. You're able to, I can take care of myself. I'm on disability for the rest of my life, but you can access very fortunate things in my life and reunite that I have family, because I don't have any family. I don't have anybody. I was just basically thrown in a trash can in the streets and eaten alive. And so they don't want me to have family. They don't want me to have a sister. Especially, they don't want me to reunite and hear stories about my biological father. So, Mikayla, I'm searching for you. I'll never stop looking for you. Even if I just end up living on the streets for the remainder of my days in life, until I develop cancer or something, I have a massive stroke or a heart attack that kills me, I'm never going to stop searching for you. I'd like to have a sister in my life, and I've never had a sister. I've already lost one sister, and I want to hear about my biological father, because the story of my father who raised me is very different from the story these people are making up. I was there. I was there when our biological father met with my father, and the conversations and everything that would happen, and all the stories that I was told that they went after my biological father. After they were going after him in schools and middle schools and high schools, a lot of people. So I wanted to make a video, and hopefully this resonates. But I have I don't know if this person's name was Mikayla, but I'm almost like it's 70, I'm like 80% positive about this, that they said that their name was Mikayla. They're making a mockery. I don't even know when I'm going in Las Vegas driving around in a Hummer that your name is Mikayla, or even know you're my sister. So I wanted to say something about this. Please be careful. They are coming after you. It's the entire circle of people, tens of thousands of people that are coming after you. They don't have any good intention. They want to make sure they separate you and any thoughts away from me, and have me separate from you at all costs. They do not want you to ever say that I'm your brother, and they don't ever want me to say that you're my sister. And I always see you as my sister. I hope I come in contact with you soon.